I get asked the same question every single day. What can I do as a first year student to land a job in banking and finance? Let's talk about it. Now in this video, I'm going to break down what you can do into three main sections. Number one, improve your technical skills. Number two, improve your macro knowledge. And number three, actually start learning how to pass the interview, because the interview is a test. Let's start with improving technical skills. What can you do if you're a first year student? Number one, hopefully you're studying finance or economics, because then most of the technical knowledge you need will be taught to you during the modules. Even not, what you can literally do is try and get some work experience in a financial firm. It doesn't have to be Citibank or Morgan Stanley. It could literally be a small accounting firm, because at the end of the day, what you want to gain exposure to is financial statements. You want to learn how an income statement works, how a balance sheet works, what exactly is a cash flow statement. And as long as the firm has a finance or accounting department, you can literally shadow people there and they could teach you firsthand how to look at the three most important financial statements. Secondly, you should sign up to finance societies, and I get it. Everyone puts it on the CV that they're part of the trading and investment society. What I would say is, if you're actually part of the societies and you're actively involved, there's a chance for you to actually learn from different people within the society, because a lot of times most societies will try and bring different professionals to give talks and seminars. It's a chance for you to actually ask some basic questions and get some insight. And if you're joining those societies, try and get a leadership position. And a leadership position is not important because of the title. It's more important because of the jobs and work you're going to do. If you have a leadership position, more times than not, you're more involved in that society, which means during the interview, you can actually talk a bit more about what you did rather than saying active member of LSC Trading Society. And I've saved the best to last. To improve your technical skills, even in your first year, pick up a financial modeling textbook and freaking study. Go from page 1 all the way to page 300. If you can do that, then you can't tell me you'll not be able to model any freaking company you want, because that's what it really comes down to. In our generation, we like to do online courses or just PowerPoint slides. But if you can find a financial modeling textbook that's not more than 10 years old, literally start from page 1 and pace yourself and go all the way to the end of the page. If you can do that within your first year, then by second year, third year, when you're applying for roles, you've literally mastered everything about technicals, like literally everything. So to me, that'll be the first thing I'll try and do. It's the hardest thing to do, which I understand, but it'll literally give you the most technical knowledge. Now let's talk about improving your macro knowledge or your business acumen. During the interview, you will be tested both on your technical knowledge, so financial statements, EBITDA, modeling, all that fun stuff, but also you will be tested on your business acumen. And listen quite carefully. How you stand out during the interview is not based on your technical knowledge. That is more or less expected. We expect you to know 2 plus 2. That will make you stand out. What will make you stand out is being able to understand the different asset classes and how that is impacted by what's currently going on in the markets. That will make you stand out. But if you're in your first year, it might sound daunting, like how to actually learn about equities, hedge funds, asset managers, interest rates, Bank of Japan, Bank of England, what the Fed is doing, rate cuts. There's so many different terminologies out there that becomes more of a burden to learn any of this stuff. And I get it, but this is what you can do. The first thing you can do is get into the habit of reading the news every single morning. You really don't have much going on, let's be honest. Even first year, you don't have much going on. And most universities in the UK will give you a free subscription to the FT, which is the Financial Times. Every single day, read the FT. Read the top highlights of the headlines. Read it, try and understand what's going on. And whatever term you don't understand, literally have a Notion template or in Word or anything basic and put that word there and try and find the meaning. By doing this every single day, number one, you build up a bank of different terminologies that now you understand, and also you start to understand the economy as a whole slowly. Because once you become familiar with the terms, you don't understand what they mean by hikes, cuts, bullish, bearish. All those terms seem very confusing until you get the meaning and see how it's used every single day. Apart from the FT, something else you can do is listen to podcasts, but not just listening. You listen, you take notes, and you look at those notes periodically. More times than not, what people do is they put their headphones in and they put a podcast on, they listen for an hour, but what did you actually learn from that podcast? You are trusting your brain to retain that information, and more times than not, you will not retain that information. So what you should actually do is put a podcast on, go to Notion or to Word or to whatever database you like, put the episode of the podcast, episode 2, Macro Life podcast, and any important or interesting fact you come across during the podcast, literally type it right there. They can mention something about the Bank of Japan that you had no idea about before. Write it down. They can mention an interesting concept about how to hedge interest rate risk. Write that down. And if you listen to a podcast every day, every 3 days, you start to build such vast knowledge, and you have to make sure you review this information at least on a weekly basis, because then it sticks. We all know the best way to learn is active recall. So by reviewing on a frequent basis, you start to understand the whole macro environment a lot better. In a separate video, I'll do all my top 5 podcasts, but at this moment, I tend to listen to the Macro Life podcast every Friday, the Money Week podcast. If you've liked what I've said so far, please drop a like and leave a comment down below. It really helps the channel. Now is the last part. What can you do to actually learn how to pass the interview? It sounds weird. The interview is a test. You might have all the knowledge, but if you don't present it properly, then no one knows you actually do. So from your first year, start learning how to interview. During most of the application process to land a job right now, you're going to end up doing a video interview where you get questions and you have to respond to the webcam, and also one-to-one interview. So you have to do both for most jobs. To practice for the video interview, you'll literally have a bank of 10 to 20 questions or more. Open your webcam on your laptop, ask yourself the question, respond to the webcam, watch that back, and then iterate your answer so you're happy with it. And when responding to the webcam, you want to look literally directly into the webcam, talk slow and clearly. And by practicing this quite frequently, when you actually have a real video interview, you're not going to be fazed by the fact that you're not talking to anyone. Because a lot of complaints I get from video interviews is, I feel weird talking to the webcam. But if you practice this from your first year, by your second year, trust me, it will not feel weird at all. I mean, I'm on YouTube, I speak to a camera every day. The first time I did, I was like, this is very awkward, but you end up getting used to it. Now for the one-to-one interviews. Most universities will have a careers department. And I have beef with careers department. Not because they're not trying, but because they honestly don't know what financial professionals look for during the interviews. Most careers department are those people with general business degree. They've never worked in the industry. So when they're interviewing you, they actually don't know if you're BSing them or if your answer is actually worth its weight. So me personally, what I did and what I think you should all do is find someone that's from the industry and get them to give you a mock interview, because they will know what answers are good and how to actually interview in a real life scenario. Yes, you have to pay for it, but I never thought about the cost when I was trying to land the banking role. Because in my mind, paying £50 or even £100 for interview practice, to me, is very small compared to how much I can make if I land the role. It's not even 1 over 1 million. It's like incomparable. So to me, I rather take the financial risk and do all I can to improve my chances of landing that role. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Hope you found that somewhat useful. And if you did, share the video to your friends, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.